Greetings and welcome, everyone. It's All You Can Geek bonus round, a spoiler cast for Mandalorian Season 2. I'm one of your hosts, Jim Gass, joined by Mike Sneedy.
I am.
Corey Feinsod.
Yep.
And Tony Korkanakis.
Hello.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, listeners and viewers, to our spoiler cast for Mandalorian Season 2. This is spoilers. So if you're here and you haven't watched it, if you somehow have not been spoiled on this, I don't think you want to listen to this. I don't know how you have avoided spoilers at this point. It's been all over the fucking place. I mean, it was almost spoiled for me in the morning. That's why I watched it so fast, because I saw a comment about Ben Solo. He was trending, and like the Jedi Academy was trending on Twitter, and it's like, you have to watch this episode, was right below that. So I'm like, oh fuck. So I'm like, I didn't know what was coming at that point still, but I was like, had an idea. And then obviously we had the big spoiler at the end there. But guys, every episode we've talked about these episodes like crazy. We've gone in depth with go back to our our podcasts, and you can listen to us talk about each episode. But I thought it'd be fun to do this spoiler cast right after the last episode, so we can talk about that episode, obviously complete spoilers, and the whole season. So guys, this episode happened. It's done. It's episode 8, I believe, right? It was 8.
Yeah. 8
called, what was it called? The Rescue?
Yes.
Yeah, which had another meaning, obviously, because they got rescued. Guys, yeah, so what did we think of the episode? Corey, go ahead.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good finale. I think that we were kind of a little seemed weird the last episode before this. Like they're gonna just all wrap this up in one episode. This was one of the longer episodes this season, but still felt a little bit kind of rushed, I think, in my opinion. But overall, it was a cool episode for sure, and mostly it was like the length was due to the stinger at the end. I think it was like, let's go through the credits and then get that little bonus scene at the end there, because the episode's over. It's still got 7 minutes to go. Like, what's happening here?
I know. I kept watching the credits because I'm like, why is there so much time? So
yeah, but it was cool. Like for sure, the cameo we'll talk about was pretty neat, and I was like, they're really doing this? I was like, okay, all right, and then they did it.
Yeah. So, I mean, up to that point, we had the Dark Troopers, which I'm sorry, but I don't know what the badassery of those are. Like, I don't know the story for the Dark. Are they Dark Troopers? Is that what they're called?
Yeah. I don't know either. It just, they might be. Are they new for this? I don't know. Like the robot version.
Okay, so for some reason, and I can be corrected by listeners, viewers. If anybody wants to leave a comment, please do on YouTube. Subscribe, by the way. Subscribe. But if I'm wrong, please comment. I thought that they were imbued with the dark side. Like, I thought that's what they were.
I think they were at least, because there is, I think, are they one of the enemy types in Fallen Order? I think they're the ones specifically trained to like deal with Jedi. Not necessarily.
They were in Dark Forces. I can give us a little background while we do this live. Advanced battle droids, heavily plating, jump packs. I'm giving you quick things. Phase 0 prototypes, Dark Trooper, Vibroblade, Dark Troopers. I guess they're just really good combat droids. So.
I mean, so they tried.
Whoa, what'd you do? What are you doing?
Well, if anybody's watching this, now we're on a console here. Doing it live. Anyway,
okay,
so
whatever.
Yeah, I thought they were always like imbued with dark side or something like that. But I guess they were trying to make a next generation stormtrooper, and they went with droids combined, I guess. And this is what we get. So they were badass. They almost, they basically almost took out our hero.
Yeah,
but I thought that
one of them.
I thought our assault was pretty good. The assault sequences, although there wasn't much for what Mando was trying to do. He didn't have much hustle behind him. I think that was like all of a sudden he saw them and he's like, oh shit, I gotta move. And I'm like, dude, you were like walking this whole time. Why are you not hustling? So I don't know. I thought it was a really good episode overall, which we're going to get into my favorite part shortly. Favorite and indifferent part, I guess. I said to Tony, I had a lot of thoughts when this happened. So Tony and I were messaging quite a bit in Discord, and Corey, you did as well. But yeah, so Mike, what did you think of the episode?
I liked it. It did seem short, actually. I know that the runtime was like 40 minutes, but like we said, like the last 10 minutes really didn't count. And it was interesting because I was kind of looking at it a little bit because I wasn't spoiled, but I had like a clue that I sort of figured whoever Baby Yoda or Grogu or the child contacted would show up this episode. It's just I wasn't sure who.
I mean, I gotta say I was sitting on Ezra. Really, that's who I really was sitting on, like something like that. So, Tony, what did you think of the episode?
It was good.
Yeah. I thought it was a good finale. I thought it was a really good finale, but I don't know where they're going. But
no, I mean, it felt a little quick, but it was exciting. It was funny because it seemed like everything went as planned for the good guys almost the entire time up until like the end, pretty much, which was interesting. It's like, oh, there's, but, you know.
Tony, you thought it was like just good? Yeah, I mean,
it was just good.
Just good.
So I imagine we're going to get into a debate here shortly, but there are some things that I just did not like, which stems from the issue with the Darksaber with Bo-Katan and Jin, with the fact that, you know, first of all, they storm the bridge and they're like, where's Gideon? And it's like, who knows? I don't know. And they're just like all fucking sitting around being like, well, he's not here. I guess we'll just hang out. Meanwhile, you know, they're having this one-on-one battle, and it's like, okay, I guess. You know, so then he beats him in one-to-one combat, takes the Darksaber, walks in just holding it out like it's fucking like just advertising the shit, like, hey, I have this fucking Darksaber thing. It's turned on. I don't know why it's turned on, but it's turned on. Strolls in the room like, hey guys, I don't know what you've been doing for the past 10 minutes, but I got Gideon. And it's like, okay. And Bo-Katan's like, what are you doing? Why do you have that? And it's like, well, I beat the fuck out of him while you guys were doing diddly squat. And she's like, I can't take this. He's like, yeah, I don't want this. Take it. And she's like, I can't take it. And the evil guy's like, nobody on Mandalore will respect you if you just give the Darksaber to her. So it's like,
I have questions about that because I feel like that's happened. I feel like Sabine gave that to her.
Yeah.
For me, this is all stuff that you guys have to know because I am from, and it's kind of what some of the appeal of Mando is I'm from his perspective of I don't understand any of this bullshit about this Darksaber thing, so like I don't care, just give it away. But apparently there's more to it than that, and he doesn't get it, and neither do I. But I mean, but you guys,
we weren't aware of those.
In the past, there was nothing else like that either.
I mean, I could see the combat thing, but I'm like, I didn't know it was that serious in terms of like, you can't just yield and give it to me because I feel like that's already happened. Like I know winning it in combat is the way to go. Like we've had that story.
Sabine had it, and then she gives it up to.
She gives it to her. Yeah.
Also, he did say it could cut through Beskar like easily, and no, it can't.
No, it can't. It can't cut through Beskar. They said that multiple times in this episode.
No, he said it could.
The only thing it cannot cut through is pure Beskar. They said it multiple times.
I thought he said that it could cut through Beskar before the fight. And it looked like it might have if it stayed there long enough, because they did show it heating up, but I don't know.
So
yeah, like I said, I just think again, I feel like there were things that were a little rushed. It's just like let's wrap this up quickly, but like as far as like the episode as a whole, I thought it was cool. It's just it's kind of weird how they wrap it all up real quick and then.
Well, that they don't even wrap up. So the thing is like, I can't take this Darksaber. It's like, all right, so now we're just at a standstill. There's some hostility in the air now, like this fucking awkward. And it's like, oh shit, those Dark Troopers can operate in space. And they're just fucking coming back on. It's like, oh no, what are we gonna do? We're just trapped in this like the bridge here. Mando has his fucking Beskar spear, and they have this Darksaber as well that can clearly cut through droids. And they're like, well, we're doomed, I guess. Nothing else to do. And it's like, okay, obviously somebody has to heed the call, which has, been built up for a couple episodes. And they're like, oh, it's an X-Wing. I'm just like, Nah, it wouldn't be too easy, right? It's like that's a fake out, right? Red herring. And it's like you see the black gloved hand. I'm like, all right, like maybe super red herring? Like I don't know. And it's like, oh, he's cloaked, and like, oh, okay, green lightsaber. I'm like, okay, so that's like 4 for 4. Like, are we just clearly doing this? And it's like he fights Hooded the entire time, just cuts through these fucking droids like it's the fucking Phantom Menace. Like nothing stands a chance. It's like, all right. And it's like, yeah, give me the kid. And it's like, oh my god, like I know you guys probably enjoyed that, but I just was like, all right.
Okay, so I have to say that Luke, I mean, obviously Luke Skywalker is in this episode.
Yeah.
That's the big reveal.
Yeah, and for me the whole time it was like, are they doing this? Are they doing this? It's like, looks like they're gonna do this. Looks like they're gonna do this, and then they did it. That was kind of how I felt that whole time.
I don't think, and I don't want to speak for anybody else here, but I don't think there's more of a Luke Skywalker fan than myself on this episode, on this podcast.
No,
I've read so many Legends books because I love Luke Skywalker so much, and like just to continue his story, to see how much he can grow as a Jedi, was one of the biggest problems I had with what The Last Jedi brought us. So I just feel like, I wanted to see this. I wanted to see a moment of Luke Skywalker being who I wanted him to turn into, and we got it in this episode. And I have to say that during that whole moment, I was standing up, and I'm not even gonna be ashamed to admit it, I was crying in the nerd tears that I was so excited. I texted Amanda, I'm like, it's happening. Oh my god, it's happening. And I'm like, and then I realized, I'm like, she's gonna have no idea what the fuck that means because she was at work. I'm like, I had to tell her the spoiler, and I'm like, I couldn't believe it the whole time. Now,
no, the thing that was funny is like when I was watching it, all I was thinking is like, oh man, I'm so happy for Jim. He loves this right now.
Yes. So now that being said, I do kind of agree with Tony, and I said this to you in our chat, was like, did they need to bring Skywalker into this show? Like, is that what we needed here? I wanted this moment, but it didn't need to. No. He was brought into the show just now. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm saying, did we need this moment for Luke Skywalker here? Could we have gotten it later on a different show, or something else? Did it need to be a Mandalorian? Because I've said it how many times, I am completely cool with new characters and new stories. I don't need, I don't need the previous characters. I loved it, but I don't need the previous characters. So
I would say, Like, I would say for me, Luke Skywalker is not my favorite Star Wars character, but he's like the most important to me. Like, he's like the Superman of the Star Wars Justice League for me. So he needs to be there, kind of, I think. And I again, like, I like the idea of this hashtag all connected universe.
I mean, clearly they're not afraid to, throw whoever they want in the show.
And once they got into the whole, see, every time you add a new character, especially during these times that from the movies, there's like not supposed to be any Jedi around, and you keep diluting that by adding all these Jedis just in the universe more and more. So it really shouldn't be anyone like 5 years post Jedi other than Luke Skywalker. Like, no one else should be out there. We got Ahsoka, which is a technicality, frankly, in my view, already in the universe, and you can argue why that if Luke can do it, why can't she? But I guess she's busy doing something else. I still didn't quite get their reasoning for why it would be okay for him to do it, but whatever. But no, I thought it made sense. Once you're going to go the Jedi route, which I don't know about that being necessary for this.
That's what
series.
I'm saying. Like,
once you're going to go the route into all the Force stuff, but I mean, again, it's kind of tied to the whole Baby Yoda thing. Like, he is supposed to be a Force sensitive thing. It was there since the beginning, but once you go that route, then I think it makes sense for Luke Skywalker to show up like that. And they did it. It didn't look great, but it almost doesn't matter.
That's where I'll disagree. Like, I feel like there's so many people clamoring that like Sebastian Stan should have starred as the young Luke, but I'm like, I do like the de-aging. They had him on set.
I can't believe that either. Like, I saw that too. That Favreau said he actually filmed.
Yeah.
For it, which
Yeah.
I guess, and I actually watched it a second time because and I did notice the part where he talks. His body does look a little squatter than you'd expect, maybe.
Yeah.
So like real Mark Hamill body.
Yeah. So I think like that's what I'm saying. Like I'm good with a lot of that. I'm okay with.
And you forget it's a TV show too. Like it's great for a TV show, but it looked a little janky.
Yeah. So, or you've been quiet.
No, I'm just saying. Like I said, I was more happy for you, Jim, when I saw it. I honestly didn't think it was necessary either, and I felt that it was kind of weird that he's just like blowing through all these guys when everybody else having this hard time. But then just it's Luke.
Jedi.
He's the Superman of it, whatever.
He is.
But
the Super Jedi. Yeah.
Sure. But at the same time, I was like, oh, that's cool. I think the same way is like didn't need to have. Like, I didn't think we needed Ahsoka. I didn't think we needed,
I disagree. I think having Ahsoka on the show was so awesome. And
no, I'm not saying
I just don't know if we
cool. I'm just saying I don't think we need it in this show. Like, if she had her own show she's getting, that's fine.
Well, I mean, I think she was only in the show to launch her own show.
Sure. And that's the thing about this season in general. I was like, a lot of it is like now that we know after like Investor Day, like there's how many Star Wars shows coming out, like. This was so popular and so well received, and we're getting all these other shows coming out. It almost felt like this season was just a launching point, because now we are getting like 3 shows that are taking place at the same time, and they're going to have 4 shows actually, I think, they're all taking place at the same time now, and they're all going to have like these super crossovers and stuff. So. And that 4th show, obviously, is that.
I mean, so the thing is, I don't mind us getting those crossovers. And the thing is, like, obviously, I'm an Ahsoka fanboy, and I loved seeing that because, I mean, her fate was left unknown for years about, what happened to her and stuff like that. And I was okay with her appearing halfway through the season and just being like, hey, like, I need some information. And see, for me, I enjoyed the fact that she's like, I'm not going to solve this problem for you. Like, here's where you can go to get the answer. She was just kind of like a stop, like a midway point. And it feels like Luke is just like, oh, cool, like, here you go, here's the baby, here's Grogu, like, just take him. And that's the end.
That's what I mean. Like, it was like, again, I'm a huge Ahsoka fan also, and it's like we know where she kind of ended in Rebels, and I guess we don't really know when this is taking place as far as before or after, but as far as that part, it's just like her whole thing is like he's too old, or there's too much fear in him, can't do it. And then she's like, all right, whatever, we'll just let someone else train him. Then it's like, okay. And then we get obviously that someone else, and it's I don't know. And then what happens now? Because we have the Last Jedi.
Well, that's what we'll get into.
So that's the thing.
That's 30 years later. So who cares?
I was going to say, like.
Well, that's the thing. What I'm saying. So really quick. So Ahsoka can at least be used to like as a reintroduction to her own Disney series, and we're assuming she's going to be dealing with Thrawn. With this, it's like, okay, so cool. We're post 5 years out of Return of the Jedi, and then the next thing we know about Luke, canonically now, is The Force Awakens, barring some comic books I don't fucking read or some shit like that. So it's like, okay, so he takes Grogu, presumably goes to his Jedi temple, which he fucked up. And it's like, so what, are they going to do a show about him training Grogu? Or is that going to be him taking away from Mandalorian Season 3? Like, I don't know. But the more I think about it, the less I like it either way.
Well,
that's the thing we can talk about.
We know that Luke is the one who tries to rebuild the Jedi Order now. It falls apart, like, I don't know, like 15 years on from there. But he's within the story, he's the one to do it. Ahsoka isn't. So that's why it makes sense for him to be the one to train a fledgling Jedi and to actually seek them out and want to do that. It makes the most sense that it's him.
No, it makes sense. It's like it's like we come to know this character now, and so I don't know if I like where it's going just because we know where it's ending.
But do you know where it's going? Because that's what I'm going to bring up next. Like,
so here's the thing, though.
Do you think Disney's gonna just start to ignore their other trilogy, the new one?
I don't think.
Well, yeah, because like this to me is this Mandalorian. We could talk about the overall season. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm conflicted because I do enjoy the show, but the whole fact that this season felt like I'm conflicted between like, hey, people who watch the other shows like Clone Wars and Rebels, like you get rewarded for watching that stuff, but it felt like they had to throw in this Boba Fett Luke Skywalker to get those original trilogy fans be like, hey, you guys get something fucking too, and it's like bring back this fucking overrated as hell character who didn't do jack fucking shit.
I never liked.
In the
They even called it
trilogy.
out in this episode.
Again, but it's the same thing as Rogue One. It's why people liked that freaking similar. And I think that's intentional.
I know it's fan
No, but it's also
service.
to add a justification for these characters' reputations that they had. And now you get to see, instead of hearing about why these characters are so cool, actually shown on screen. That's what they did here with Luke a bit, and that's what they did with Boba Fett a bit, and they did that with Vader in Rogue One, because you never really see him in action, like, against normal people up until that point.
Here's what I'm talking about, though. Like, so I complained about it that week when Boba Fett's like, wow, dude, you took out a bunch of stormtroopers. Cool. Like, literally any main character in any fucking series could take out a whole...
Like, all the side characters, like Cara Dune or whatever her name
was. Listen, stormtroopers are fodder. That's all.
May could take on...
That's all they are.
Yeah. So it's like, cool, you take on a bunch of... Is there really anybody that thought Luke was in any sense of danger fighting dark troopers at all? Like, no, absolutely.
Well, it's also that droids
out there.
The fucking... So, I mean, no one was in
kick-ass. He was there to kick ass. That's all he was. I mean, he was there to destroy them and show how powerful. They got him. I love the parallel. I did love this. The parallel with him and his father, you know, the Darth Vader Rogue One sequence. He got that sequence as a Jedi.
That's what I kind of just said.
Right, but do we need that?
I know.
Like, did you need that to be like, wow?
As a fan,
like,
Jim
Luke
needed
really
that.
Powerful.
Jim needed it, though. I think as a Luke Skywalker fan, those fans, they needed it. Yeah.
Like, I wanted that, Tony, but I'm like, but I do agree with you. Did it have to be on this show? I don't know about that, because they're going to do an Ahsoka show, and you got to assume that there would be a cross-path moment there. And like that's where they could have done that. They really could have done that better. Like, did it have to be in the Mandalorian?
Right. No, I think the Jedi show could have had more Jedi stuff in this. Yeah. But again, this season to me felt like a much more like we're opening up this whole new Star Wars. Like, let's introduce everybody else that's going to be in these new shows and stuff. And
I think after a decade of Smallville, where you can't even get Superman on Smallville, it's certainly no Batman. And then, 8 years or whatever of Arrow, where you can't mention Batman too. It's super refreshing that Luke Skywalker shows up in a show like this. I'm sorry, I don't care. Like, I don't care if it looks bad. I don't care if it doesn't quite fit with the theme. I don't care if it makes a problematic ending. It's you finally like gets the biggest character in the universe that was created there, and you put him in there, and you're not afraid to do it, even if it's kind of messy. And I respect.
I thought it looked fine. By the way, I think it looked great. I thought it looked. I mean, obviously, you can't have Mark Hamill play him right now. He's too old. So I think the de-aging technology. I defended it.
Did he voice him too?
I don't know, because it sounded so light.
It was.
Did they?
Why would you get him if you didn't have him? Like,
he's really good.
Voices himself.
I mean, because his voice. He sounded so young. He sounded so young though.
They might have like.
They de-aged his voice, guys, just like his face. Yeah. And removed his scars from Empire.
I mean, listen.
No, they didn't. His nose was super crooked.
I'm not trying to spend this entire episode talking about Luke Skywalker, but I will say it's refreshing to have.
The biggest part of the episode. I mean, that was the thing. It overshadowed almost everything else in that episode.
And that's the problem I have with it, because it diminished Mando and everyone else, because they're just like, cool, we just got our asses saved by this character just showing up for the last 5 minutes of the episode, completely invalidating everything they did this season.
But that's the purpose. No, first of all, he shows up because he got him to send out the call. Like, that was all
right, but he solved all their problems. Like, everything else they did this season would not have mattered.
Jedi. What does that mean? It would not have mattered.
Nothing else they did this season mattered if it wasn't for him showing up. They would have fucking lost. They would have died.
What Tony's
not
saying
necessarily, like you said, they had the Darksaber.
But they didn't do it. They didn't even show an attempt. They're just like, well, guys, we're in trouble. Oh, look, there's an X-Wing on this fucking black and white screen. Let's just watch this instead of doing anything.
Yes. What Tony is saying is that it weakens their main characters.
Absolutely, 100%.
Sure,
and you can't argue that. You can't argue.
But it also strengthens the whole idea of Jedi, which I think got dragged through the dirt a bit in the prequels in the second movie, We learned Jedi's are Jedi in the third movie more. The Jedi's are punks and they get killed by everybody, which wasn't what the feeling was before that. So to me, like a Luke Skywalker 5 years removed from Return of the Jedi, that is like he should be that. Like
yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying that he shouldn't just be mowing through these troopers. I'm just saying him showing up in the plot to just be like, hey, I'm going to bail all these characters out of the problem they're having and solve everything.
I think
it's lazy writing.
It's not lazy writing. The only problem I had was a handful of robots. You can't think they could have just like fought out of that anyway.
No, not the way they were.
I meant Tony. I think no, but Tony. I think Tony's right about the fact that like the Darksaber. I think it would have been cool to see them fight their way out with that stuff. But that's a lot of dark troopers. So like,
right. Like I would have been more understanding if like they were trying to fight their way back and they were being overwhelmed, and at some point it's like, okay, Luke shows up. Luke turns the tide. Not Luke just shows up. Oh, guys. You guys could just fucking chill in that navigation room. I'm just gonna kill all these dudes for you. It's like, okay, like I don't know. Am I supposed to feel rewarded for this? It's like, all right, like, it's droids.
Would we have preferred would you guys have preferred Ahsoka? Because I think the thing about Luke being on the episode is because it's this show in season 1 and in season 2 now have been about payoffs in characters you've met. And like it's about
these characters to do some shit. And I complained about this earlier this season when Mando was getting his ass kicked like every other episode. I'm like, dude, you're the main character of the show. Like, you have to be growing. He's getting armor, he's getting weapons, and it's like it just feels like anytime he's given a chance to do anything, he regresses. Like it was cool, like when he was doing the one-on-one fight, he was struggling a little bit, but he, overcame that, and then he, hit the thing to throw them all out in space. It's like, okay. Cool. Mando did something. And then
he did too. He did that, and he fought Gideon. He had 2 huge victories in this episode, him by himself.
Right, but it doesn't matter because then he had nothing for the last encounter.
Well, it does matter. I don't think it's fair to say it doesn't matter at all because again, we didn't know what was going to happen. Like, who knows? They could have defended themselves for a little bit. Like, we don't know. It's
so
just
show that.
But I'm saying like, they needed to show Luke being a badass and just take care of everything. That's what they wanted for this episode's ending.
That's fine. But I'm saying it's
I don't think it's lazy writing. I don't think it's like, I think it was purposeful. I don't think it was like lazy or anything. I just think that's what they wanted for this show. And if you disagree, that's fine. It just, I don't think I agree with it either. I just think that's what their decision for the ending of this they wanted this huge impact and not necessarily, the ending for the characters that we've been following this whole time.
I mean, we didn't get anything from these characters except for Grogu. Like we got nothing.
And that's the thing is like everybody's just like nobody has questions. Like they're just like, all right, cool. Like we're just gonna entrust this to the Jedi. Like, and the thing is like Kara's supposed to be part of the the New Alliance or the New Order or whatever. Like she doesn't even recognize Luke. Like who the fuck doesn't recognize Luke Skywalker 5 years after?
Well, I will say I did like Moff Gideon, I think, recognized Luke Skywalker. If you watched it, I watched it twice. I watched it 3 times.
Not to mention,
he definitely had fear.
Why did Boba Fett just not come back? He dropped them off and bounce, get fucking lunch or some shit? No, of course they had to write him out just so Luke couldn't be there and be like, oh, this is kind of awkward.
I mean,
can you guys defend that? Like, honestly.
Boba Fett, he fulfilled his part of his bargain, although I don't know why his sidekick stayed behind. That was who is
his bargain was actually to help them get the child back.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, that was his bargain, and it hadn't gotten him back yet. So
yeah, but once he fulfilled his part of the plan, what is he going to do? Like
come back?
Why?
The only problem I have with yeah, they could have. I mean, absolutely, I agree with that.
Like what was he doing? Like, what was he doing?
He should have been picking those dark troopers off in space.
Yeah, exactly.
Each one, picking them off.
Using his ion blast to disable all of them at once?
Picking them off one at a time. So I do agree with that. It's not... I mean, listen, end of the day, I absolutely 100% loved this finale, but I understand the gripes that people would have with the finale at the same time. I get it.
Like, it's inevitable we're going to get these characters coming back. And sorry to interrupt. It's just, I feel like if this is your Luke moment, cool. Good for you. I'm really happy. If you think that Luke showing up and being a badass against droids fulfills your, wish fantasies or whatever like that, hey, more power to you. I just would have preferred it happen in a different show where stakes actually mattered. Like, I don't know, you fucking bring up any like major villain, like a major villain, and him showing up, that would have been fine. But it's like Droids.
Let's say
for me, the whole idea of the Mandalorian is to be, you are on the outside of like the Jedi world looking in from Mando's perspective, and from his perspective, yeah, this guy is like, he didn't even know about the Force like a year ago, and now this guy comes, and yeah, this is like some amazing feat where like he was going to be in trouble. He struggled to beat one of them, and then this guy comes, kills everything, and it's just supposed to be a big like contrast. Like we consider him, Luke Skywalker, this legendary character. He's a 42-year-old character, 43, and you know, the whole universe that this is based around him, more or less, from the beginning. So he is supposed to be legendary. So, but we never see it, and now this is a chance to see it from someone from the outside looking in, kind of.
That's like, perfect, Mike. I mean, that's really it.
That's what this was.
You got that. You have complained about Luke Skywalker forever, about he doesn't do anything except for mess things up. The Skywalkers mess everything up, but they didn't here.
Yeah, I mean, so like if we're just projecting, so then he takes Grogu back to the temple. He tries to kill Kylo Ren in his sleep. Kylo Ren fucking flips shit and like destroys the entire new Jedi. So is that what we're supposed to be getting? That Grogu's dead now?
No, Grogu's not
in
dead.
30 years, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what happens? That's
right.
so hard.
I'm just saying. So let's move away from Luke. I have no interest in talking about Luke anymore. I just think it detracts from the universe every single time. They fucking can't get away from these goddamn Skywalkers. Just like Fallen Order, where it's like, oh cool, like 90% of the game. Oh look, Darth Vader shows up at the end. All right, cool. Let's just take away from anything these characters.
And everyone loved that too.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do to get these fucking people to like your shit. The lowest fucking hanging fruit. Like, hey, put Darth Vader in or put Luke Skywalker in. Cool. All right.
Because
sweet.
that's
all
what takes. That's what relates it to the stories that are established, and to see again from an outsider's
perspective. Don't call it Star Wars. Call it the Skywalker Wars.
So you don't want Star Wars then?
No, I do want Star Wars.
No, you don't, because Star Wars is about that galaxy where they did the most important shit and become legends.
I mean, honestly, like,
I'd like so many Star Wars things that have nothing to do with Skywalkers.
Honestly, Tony, I think you're going to get more. You're going to get him more, and you're going to get him in season 3, because I think we're going to get more Grogu training with him in season 3.
And that's the thing.
This is the other thing, though, that do they have the courage to actually not have Grogu in most of the next season? Because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for like it.
There might be a time skip. We might get a time jump.
But the thing is this: we can only do so much Grogu danger. Like we did it for 2 seasons pretty much, and I said that it would get tiring, and it was right at the edge of it here. I think we can only try to protect him for so long and have that being the plot for so long before it gets like, oh, nothing's really going to happen to him. It's silly. I don't know. I think it might even be better for Mando's story to just move on and have like him not really be in it. I know that people will be very upset, but I kind of think this should be the end of what we do with him for a little bit or ever.
Yeah. Okay. I could see that too.
I don't see.
You still have Mandalore. You still have the reclaiming of Mandalore.
Oh yeah.
Like, they could do that story.
But I don't know. I don't know how you justify taking him out of that situation now.
Yeah. He's such a liked character that I just can't see them writing Grogu out. I can't.
No, if season 3 doesn't have Grogu, I guarantee viewership drops for this fucking show. Like the merchandising, the popularity on like don't get me wrong, it's part Din or Jin, or however they pronounce his name. It's fucking all about Grogu. All about Grogu. So if they don't include him, like it'd be the stupidest, worst decision they could fucking possibly make since they made this show. I'm not saying they won't do it because Rise of Skywalker.
I just think that we're going to get. I just really think we're going to get a time jump with this next season, and I think that we'll get more.
Team Angst Grogu?
I don't know if we'll go that far.
Here's the thing, though. He ages so slowly. Like he's gonna be like kind of baby-ish the whole time.
That's
the whole
the other
time.
thing.
The whole time everyone else is alive, he's going to be.
Yeah,
it all depends.
So
it
that's
all
the thing,
depends on how brave they are.
In another 20 years, whenever Kylo Ren is supposed to go evil and flip shit and kill like the New Order, I mean, Grogu's going to be what, the equivalent of like maybe a teenager at best, like what? Like, I mean, he's already 50 years old, right? He survived Anakin's first, the first.
Which we didn't even talk about the second. We didn't talk about the second cameo in the show, but go on.
No, but
R2.
R2. No, I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like, who doesn't like R2?
Apparently, R2 is what convinced him.
R2, I think, knows him from the temple.
Maybe
R2 is the one that rescued him.
It wouldn't make sense. He had Grogu inside of him. There's space.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has he's like a trash can.
Yeah, maybe he hit him. R2 was there. That's the only one that didn't get their memory wiped and knew him.
Overall for this season 2, we talked a lot about this last episode. Like, what's the overall impressions of this season?
I think it was a great season. I thought it was a great season. I really do love our main character still. I think he does need a companion, and that's where I feel like you can't have just Batman. Like, Batman by himself is fine, but eventually it gets old. It does. You gotta have that. You gotta have that weakness.
It's the whole Kratos thing where in the last God of War, it's like you just have that fucking talking head in the boy, just like for a character to respond to. Like,
yeah, you do need that.
It just doesn't work.
Thing.
Like,
yes.
Like he doesn't talk. Like what's he gonna be like narrating to himself the next time he's like, oh man, whatever, I gotta go to this place. Like it'd be awkward. You need somebody for him to bounce off of. And frankly, I like hate Cara Dune as a character. I don't want to see Bill Burr again.
I didn't mind Bill Burr, but go on.
Yeah, don't like
no, I'm just saying like his deal with Boba Fett is over now, and Boba Fett's getting his own show. So
And Fennec, and I mean, obviously, was it Fennec?
Yeah,
Fennec's the Boba Fett's sidekick.
Yeah, she's going to be in Boba Fett now. So that's not happening.
Well,
and that's
that makes
thing
sense.
is it does feel like here's a character, and you get a show, and you get a show.
Yeah, exactly.
You get a show.
Yeah.
It does feel like this
I don't know. I mean, maybe season 3 they explore the whole Mandalore thing, like the planet.
They will. I think that's what
Well, I think that's got to get resolved a little bit with the whole, like you were saying earlier, the whole Darksaber stuff and Bo-Katan and all that. So.
Yeah, that good writing where they're like, okay, we'll just not talk about this and just end the season.
I mean, you need something going forward. You need something to look forward to, try to figure out going forward.
I mean, as a
But
whole,
the
the season was good. Again, like we talked, like it definitely had so many cool little Easter eggs or like nods or straight up like in your face, like here's like Bo-Katan and Ahsoka and Thrawn's coming, like we know that's happening, and so it was neat. But again, it just felt so much like we're setting up for this whole connected Star Wars universe now.
It was a world builder. Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they needed to do that, and I'm pretty sure we talked about this as the recent trilogy was coming out. That we've had tons of shit between the prequel trilogy and the original trilogy with Clone Wars, this, that, and the other thing, video games, but then the time period between original trilogy and sequel trilogy is like mostly unexplored. So that's fine if that's what they want to flesh out. Cool. I still want to see new characters. I want to see new things. I just want to move forward in time, but apparently we can't do that with Star Wars because they haven't figured out what the fuck they want to do with that. So I guess in the meantime, that's fine. If we're getting content of this level, that's enjoyable. But like, it just, again, it's like we're talking about like this story here and like a thing that's already been like ended. So to me, it's just like, all right, like.
I don't know. Like now,
I think
you are getting those new stories though.
And I do think the new trilogy is new enough and in the future enough from most of what we're talking about that it almost doesn't matter.
We have an opportunity to get Corey. We have an opportunity to get kind of an heir to the Empire. Like
it's gonna be a broke ass heir, but sure.
No, I mean, know the story, sure, but you have an opportunity. I mean, when is something that's from the book to the TV actually not broke?
No, we do have that. It just it's not going to be the same, obviously, just because we know where things you went with.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you're a big Planet Hulk fan. You weren't a fan of how they portrayed that in the MCU. So I don't see them doing that to the level that you would enjoy it. So to me, it's just like, all right, like why? Like again, why are we just focused on this time period? Like we're just telling the same stories, we're referencing the same characters because that's what people want. They want comfort food. So it's like, all right, cool. Like I guess shrug. What's going on with New Story? So they gave us what 5? We're getting 4 or 5 shows that take place between.
It's 4 shows that are taking place now. Like right now in this timeline with Mandalorian, because you have Mandalorian, you have the Ahsoka show, you have the Boba show, and you have that other Battles something show. I forget what it's called. There's another one. And so they're all taking place at the same time, which means they'll have those, like we said, those DC, Arrow crossover type episodes.
Right, and then we have the show from what's his name, Rogue One asshole.
Yeah, Cassian or whatever.
Cassian, yeah. So we have the Cassian show. So we're covering that time period again. We're covering this new time period, so it's like, okay, like I guess, but it's just.
We got the cartoon stuff. The Bad Batch is coming and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know.
So you're saying you want something, what, post Rise of Skywalker?
Yeah.
Or do you want to go so far back in the past like they did for the
Why don't we just
BioWare
ignore that? Why don't we just ignore that trilogy existed?
Well,
build a new universe based off.
It would be interesting if they just started to try to do something to contradict that, but we'll see. I don't know if they're going to.
I know they won't. They won't do that to their own films, but I'm just like, let's just do it. Come on, guys, let's just do it. Be brave. So give us.
I'd love to see Mara Jade, but it doesn't make sense.
Yes, let's do it. Come on, come on.
Doesn't make sense.
Be brave. Forget. Maybe the legends weren't the legends, and what we watched was the legends.
Oh man!
I mean, it was, some of it was so nonsensical that.
Oh, we also have Kenobi coming too. Don't forget.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Kenobi. Yeah.
God, we're never getting out of this fucking 90-year time span or whatever it is. What is it?
So this is the Mandalorian spoiler cast, guys.
And we do have the High Republic coming soon, which is going to get us out of there with the books. Maybe we get a show from that too.
I guess. I mean, overall, I like it. I mean, in my opinion, it's this Mandalorian. As much as shit talk as I did for this last episode, it's still an enjoyable show. The format, I think, fits perfect for what Star Wars should be. And again, I am a firm advocate that they should be doing these things where they explore characters more in depth in a TV series, which is what I've stated about all these things, especially like something like Harry Potter is probably way more adaptable, not Star Wars related, but way more adaptable in a.
No, imagine how well that would do on HBO Max.
Right, exactly. Right, exactly. Like you take the Game of Thrones budget, but you fucking do Harry Potter. Like there you go, magic, literally and figuratively. Anyway, like you could do that with these characters, and then you could do the movies, and like maybe some of them go to the movies, maybe all of them go to the movies.
I mean, it's what we're seeing with Marvel now, right, like with the Disney Plus shows, and so like they're finally getting people in place with Star Wars, though. I think that's what we can like all agree on, right? Is that they're getting people in place that they saw what they were doing was like how well the MCU succeeded, and now they're finally getting people in place that are capable of kind of overseeing it and not just be like, well, all we can do are these random one-off movies, but actually you have this platform that's perfect because it needs content and having these other shows, and so it's like we're getting all that right now. It's like just a shit ton of like tidal wave of Star Wars stuff, and it's all getting connected, which we were talking about. So we're seeing that, and I'm excited for what the future could be, because we're just contemplating. We don't know how these shows are going to be, but based off of what we've seen with Mandalorian and the quality we have there, it may we are getting shows of characters. Yeah, it bodes well. Like, we are getting characters, like you're saying, like we're in this timeline, but we don't know what happened between this 30-year period. So it is still interesting, and I do love Thrawn, and I really hope they do him justice, because his canonical version is such a poor representation of what the Legends books versions were.
Yeah.
I agree.
Even in the books, like even Zahn's new books and stuff were just like, oh.
I've read those. They were not.
Yeah, like just like gimped him so much, man. It's like,
he like sold him out. That character sold him out to Disney.
yeah.
So what he was. So hopefully we get like I said, a reinvigorating version of Thrawn. Do we think Moff Gideon's gone forever here? I mean, is this the end of Moff Gideon's story?
No, they didn't kill him, so no, he's there.
Yeah.
Still.
Yeah, that's the thing.
The odds makers, I don't know if you saw this, the odds makers say he's like the front runner for Doctor Doom.
I heard, and that's why
That actor,
he also said that he would be open to returning with his own spin-off show.
Yeah.
So,
I did like how he posted on social media about how either during like the last 2 episodes, like sometime around that time period, like his daughters were like texting him being like, please don't hurt baby baby Yoda, and he's like, I'm gonna fucking squish that big air freak or something like that. And I was like, that's fun. Like,
Nice.
yeah.
I mean, it's really enjoyable. Despite my grievances with the last episode, I'm still looking forward to season 3.
Absolutely.
And it's good that it seems like Corey was saying, like, they're getting people in the place. They understand the machine a little bit better in terms of how they can connect these things, because let's be honest, before that it was a fucking shit show. Or they just didn't have the faith to really commit to a lot of the things where it's like, yeah, whatever happened in the Clone Wars, like, maybe, whatever. And like, or what was it, Rebels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's good that they're finally putting that on that equal footing, where it's like, hey, anything that we did in the past, we're open to bringing that into the future and committing that to live action so that you could see these characters interact with, new characters and old characters and stuff like that. So, in 5 years out from now, I hope that all of this is going to come together and be like, hey, this is awesome. It's like, Marvel Universe.
Yeah. So, all right. Anything else to discuss? No.
Do we need to give it a rating, season 2? I don't know if we did that last time.
I really enjoyed this season. I don't think we did. I don't think we ever really rate anything at all. So, but
yeah, if I had to give a number, I'd say probably about 8.5 or so.
Yeah, I was gonna say 8. Maybe 8.5. Just bump it up for some of the Mandalorian stuff. Because I'm really interested in the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan.
I feel like it followed the normal season 2 of shows where it had some bumps, which hopefully you're right in season 3, because it's like that season 1 is always so impactful that you're like you really can't get the same impact anymore, and you try, and I think you over try, and I think it did have that somewhat in season 2, but overall it still kept its quality, which I love to see. So that's really where we were at.
I think this was better than season 1. I would give it a 9 because there was like 2 or 3 like kind of uninteresting episodes the last season. This one there wasn't much filler. There was like last like maybe 1.5 episodes was kind of filler, and I know a lot of it can be sort of viewed as
episode 2.
Yeah, a little bit, and maybe the second and the last one, but a little bit is still sort of led into this one. I don't know. I thought this was. They raised the stakes pretty much, and again they showed that on this anything is possible. They're not unwilling to do anything within the universe that's possible there, which is I think a big thing. So I would give this one a 9. I think it's actually a little better than the first season, although that is with the caveat of I am fully embracing and understanding that there was a lot of fan service involved in this season.
Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Can't wait for Han Solo to appear in season 3.
Yeah. That'd be fun. It can happen now.
Maybe he can give Mando a lift. He'll be like, yo, bro, I don't have a spaceship anymore. Han Solo, Chewbacca just flying on by. Hey, guys, you need a lift? Cool.
We don't have a home. We just got this big-ass charter ship thing.
Yeah.
I mean, overall, I think if you look back to the season for me, I had my 2 most favorite ever all-time Star Wars characters in one season with this show. I think I got to give it a 9. I got to give it a 9.
It's fair.
It's really good. I mean, it's really good. Just
Yeah, I just can't believe it's like a TV show doing this too. It's crazy.
It's awesome. That's the best part about it. It's like we're getting these stories, and we're not getting a 2-hour story. We're getting, 7-ish hours.
It's not, maybe even less, but yeah.
Maybe
but I
even
mean,
less,
honestly,
yes.
I think that's, and we could talk about that probably more during a regular podcast. We can do a topic, but like, I think that's the future of dedicated content, where you're going to have more character in depth during the series, like a TV series on Disney Plus, Netflix, whatever, and then the movies are just going to be the big spectacle, top of the line special effects and
Definitely.
whatever and stuff like that. So
I will say this though, you couldn't do a finale like this with the binge structure. It wouldn't work. You needed to do this week by week in order to have something like this happen without it getting spoiled way ahead of time for like half the audience.
This does give you that opportunity to not have spoilers. Like that Luke Skywalker thing would have been out immediately if I couldn't binge this. No, I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
So, all right, that's gonna wrap up the bonus round. This bonus round for the Mandalorian season 2 spoiler cast. If you have any comments or questions, you can always email us allyoucangeek@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter and comment. You can like us on Facebook. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment, hit the notification button to make sure you don't miss any episodes. We'll talk to you guys on the normal stuff, the Gamecast, Moviecast coming up. Thanks for listening and viewing.